Good evening, everybody. Today, I am here to do another reading progress video. This reading progress video covers reading I'm doing for the next couple of weeks, because the next time I will be doing reading progress will be in the next entertainment wrap-up video that Matt and I do on September 1st, and then for the summer wrap up for the Manhattan to Stars Hollow TBR podcast that me and Kathleen are doing. So following this video, the next two videos I will be doing reading updates in is on August 30th and August 31st. The first book I am reading right now is called War in Me, by Falila Hassan. This is a memoir of somebody who is from Iraq and lived there during the war, and talks about her experiences growing up in Iraq during the war. And so far, I am on chapter 11. I will probably finish this book tomorrow. The next book I am reading is called Long Live Evil, which is a romance book that focuses on two villains, which is very fun and interesting. I think this was recommended to me by Emmy Rossum, but I'm not 100% sure. Currently, in this book, I am on chapter 21, page 238. The next book is a reread for me. I first read this book in February for Black History Month. This book is called Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, and the main character in this book is autistic, and I love the way Talia Hibbert writes characters with disabilities. This author was actually recommended to me by Sarah Adams, who wrote the When in Rome series. She recommended this author to me when I went to her book signing in January, and I loved it. This is the third book in his trilogy called the Brown Sisters Trilogy. The other sisters that the first two books focuses on are Chloe and Danny, and Eve is the youngest sister, who's kind of the spoiled brat character. So basically her parents force her to find a job, or else they're gonna take away her trust fund money, because she's the most spoiled, and she's also the most laziest sister, I think. And I love the dynamic between Eve and the main male character. His name is Jacob. So I gave this book 4.5 stars. The next book is highly anticipated. This was the book club pick for the Books and Brews book club that Rachel Conrad runs for August. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have the book done in time for the meeting, which is next week on Tuesday, and I can't go to the meeting anyway, because next Tuesday is my birthday, and I have plans with my family. So, Cyrus Shams, this novel's hero, is a young man grappling with an inheritance of violence and loss. A mother whose plane was shot down over the skies of the Persian Gulf in a senseless accident, and a father whose life in America was circumscribed by killing chickens on a factory farm in the Midwest. Cyrus is a drunk, an addict, and a poet whose obsession with martyrs leads him into the mysteries of his past towards an uncle who rode through Iranian battlefields dressed as the angel of death to inspire and confront the dying, and towards his mother through a painting discovered in a Brooklyn art gallery that suggests she might not have been who or what she seemed. Cyrus is guided on his journey by the voices of artists, poets, and kings, and delivered in this novel's unforgettable final pages to a world that teems with unforeseen wonders. Martyr is a work of gut-wrenching anguish and exquisite Constellation. A book that sees into every corner of the human heart, that faces down shame and despair and emerges with a vision of humanity that is capacious and full of grace. An astonishing debut. So I have heard great things about this book from other people on BookTube. It has been hyped up since last year. The first person who recommended it, I believe, was Jack Edwards, and since then I think CariCanRead has read it, and a few other booktubers. I'm trying to remember who else has read it. I may have to go back and review the many videos I watch with TBRs to see who else has read it. The next book is a highly anticipated new release by Julie Soto called Rose in Chains. This is her first fantasy book. Her 2 romance books have been 3.5 and 4-star reads for me. I love her writing style, and so far, I am loving the main characters in this book. I am currently on page 61, chapter 7, and in Martyr, I am on page 84. The next book was recommended to me in a recent reading vlog video that Olivia Readalatte posted yesterday, called The Listeners by Maggie Stiefvater. This is by the same author as the Raven Boys trilogy. I'm pretty sure CariCanRead has also reviewed this book too. January 1942, the Avalon Hotel and Spa has always offered elegant luxury in the wilds of West Virginia, its mountains sweet water washing away all of high society's troubles. Local girl turned general manager Julie Porter Hudson has guided the Avalon skillfully through the first pangs of war. The Guilfoyles, the hotel's aristocratic owners, have trained her well, but when the family heir makes a secret deal with the State Department to fill the hotel with captured Axis diplomats, June must persuade her staff, many of whom have sons and husbands, heading to the front lines, to offer luxury to Nazis with a smile. Meanwhile, FBI agent Tucker Minnick, whose cold tattoo hints at an Appalachian past, presses his ears to the hotel's walls, listening for diplomat secrets. He has one of his own, which is how he knows that June's balancing act can have dangerous consequences. The sweet water beneath the hotel can threaten as well as heal. June has never met a guest she couldn't delight, but the diplomats are different. Without firing a single shot, they have brought the war directly to her. As clashing loyalties crack Avalon's polished veneer, June must calculate the true cost of luxury. So, I am a huge fan of World War II books, and this book has added intrigue for me because of how June takes in Nazis at her hotel and how there are spies involved. I just started this today, and I have already read the first 100 pages. Really enjoying it so far. The next book is a YA book called Anatomy, a Love Story, which was Reese's book club, YA book club pick for (2022), and when the two of them have a chance encounter outside the Royal Edinburgh Anatomist Society, Hazel thinks nothing of it at first, but after she gets kicked out of a renowned surgeon, Dr. Beecham's lectures for being the wrong gender, she realizes that her new acquaintance might be more helpful than she first thought. Because Hazel has made a deal with Dr. Beecham, if she can pass the medical examination on her own, he will allow her to continue with her medical career. Without official lessons, though, Hazel will need more than her books. She'll need corpses to study. Luckily, she's made the acquaintances of those who dig them up for a living. But Jack has his own problems. Strange men have been seen skulking around cemeteries. His friends are disappearing off the streets, and the dreaded Roman fever, which wiped out thousands a few years ago, is back with a vengeance. Nobody important cares until Hazel. Now Hazel and Jack must work together to uncover the secrets buried not just in unmasked graves, but in the very heart of Edinburgh society. So the plot of this book kind of reminds me of Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerry Maniscalco, because it focuses on a girl in a time period that wants to take on a profession that girls don't typically take on. In Stalking Jack the Ripper, the main character, Audrey, wants to work in her uncle's funeral parlor instead of being in high society. And in this book, Hazel wants to be a surgeon, which is not a typical job for people of her time period. This book is really interesting so far. Rachel Catherine reviewed this in one of her videos, either from this year or the year prior. I'm assuming it's the year prior because this was the Reese's YA Book Club pick in 2022, which was 3 years ago. I am currently on page 81, chapter 9. The next book I am reading is Are You Hungry, Dear? If you are a fan of Everybody Loves Raymond, this is the memoir of the actress who played Marie Barone, Doris Roberts. And the fun thing about this biography is that it has recipes in it. And obviously, since the Barones are Italian, most of these recipes are for pasta dishes. I really love learning about Doris Roberts and her family life and her time on Everybody Loves Raymond. Currently, I am on chapter 12, page 108. The next book is a fantasy book that I picked up by an author I have never read from before. It is called A Letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvie Cathrall. I love a good fantasy book. I love this new magical world and how it's defined by people writing letters back and forth. So it seems to me like this is a similar plot to Divine Rivals, but instead of them being war correspondents writing back and forth to each other, this is about a group of teenagers who have to piece together their lost father's journals about exploring the bottom of the ocean. Very fun, very interesting to learning about it. And after just finishing two other books that are related to the ocean, Remarkably Bright Creatures and The Life Cycle of the Common Octopus, it's very fun to read another book that has a similar theme. The next book is called Can You Keep a Secret? This is by the same author as The Undomestic Goddess, a book that was recommended to me by Books and Lala from her experiment where she read a book from every year that she has been alive. So I read another book by this author a couple of months ago called The Undomestic Goddess, which is which kind of reminds me of the movie Made in Manhattan with Jennifer Lopez. But this book is about a girl named Emma who discovers a lot of secrets about her family life that she unravels, and it's very interesting. I'm not very far into this yet. I'm only on chapter 7, But this being my second book by this author and me loving her writing in The Undomestic Goddess, I am excited to read this book and another book that I am waiting to get from the library by her that is called Party Crashers, that is on my TBR for Friends and Gilmore Girls. The next book is on a reading list I found on Instagram for books that are based on Disney Channel movies, and of course I haven't seen a lot of these Disney Channel movies that these books are paired up with. This book is called The Pisces, and it's by Melissa Broder, and a Disney Channel original movie that this book is paired up with is called The 13th Year, which is about a teenager who turns into a mermaid when he turns 13. Kind of similar to the movie Aquamarine, if you've seen that. I started this book at the middle part of last week, and I am on chapter 29. The next two books are rereads that I am reading separately from these books are on the they're on the Manhattan to Stars Hollow TBR list, but they're on the list of books that I'm reading individually from the list that I'm doing with Kathleen. And they're both rereads. The first book is Malala Yousafzai's memoir, I Am Malala. This is about a very inspirational girl who survived the Taliban war in Afghanistan and moved to America to get a better life and education for herself, and her story is so inspiring. This book won a Nobel Peace Prize in 2012, and in my reread, I am currently on chapter 21. And finally, my next reread from Manhattan to Stars Hollow TBR is Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. I read this back in January, and the character on Friends I feel this main character reminds me of is Phoebe, because she's quirky, she's unique, she goes around the place singing and playing the ukulele, and Phoebe is a guitar player at Central Perk. I gave this book 5 stars, and that rating is not going to change. So as I said at the beginning of the video, Kathleen and I will be doing our summer wrap-up for the From Manhattan to Stars Hollow TBR podcast on August 30th. And then I will be doing another reading wrap-up in the entertainment wrap-up that Matt and I do on his channel on September 1st. I hope everybody has a great week this week. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.